everyone, I am Lucille Axtero. I am your presenter for today. And for today's video, let's all talk about Jose Rizal. With further ado, let's get started. Chapter 14, Rizal in London on May 1888 to March 1889. After Rizal visited and stayed, he went to London and lived there. There are three reasons why Rizal chose London than the other countries. First, he wants to improve his knowledge in English language. It is very important to know on how to use it well because it is useful in communicating with other nationalities. Second is to study and annotate Morga's Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, or in English term, events in the Philippine Islands. The primary goal of this book is a documentation of events during the Spanish colonial period of the Philippines observed by Antonio de Morga. Third is, for him, London is a safe place to carry on his fight against the Spanish tyranny. The trip across the Atlantic. The transatlantic voyage of Rizal from New York to Liverpool was a pleasant one. He met many friends of different nationalities on board the city of Rome. Then he entertained the passengers with his marvelous skills with a yo-yo as an offensive weapon to his American and European audience. On May 24, 1888, Rizal arrived at Liverpool, England. Liverpool is a beautiful city and its celebrated port is worthy of its great fame. Life in London. On May 25, 1888, Rizal went to London. He stayed as a guest at the house of Dr. Antonio Marigador and excelled of Dr. Antonia Marigador. By the end of May, he found a modest boarding place at No. 37 Chalcot, Crescent Primrose Hill. He was a boarder of the Beckett family. He was called a Pearl of Man by Dr. Reinhold Hust. Next is the good news and the bad news. Let's go first to the bad news. The persecution of the Filipino patriots who signed the anti-fires petition of 1889. Persecution of Calamba tenants. Furious attacks on Rizal by Senator Salamanca and Veda in Spanish Cortes and by Disengaños, Wenceslao E. Ritana, and Quep Pablo Ficed in Spanish newspapers. Rizal's brother-in-law, Manuel Hidalgo, was exiled in Bohol. Laureano Vedo, his friend, was arrested and jailed because of the copies of Noli found in his house. The annotating Morga's book. He spent many days in British Museum just to read about the old stories of the Philippines. It was very convenient because the museum was located nearly to the Beckett family house. The short visit of Paris and Spain. On September 1888, he visited Paris for a week in order to search more historical materials, Bibliothèque Nationale. On December 11, 1888, Rizal went to Madrid, Barcelona, Spain. Then, he met Marcelo del Pilar and Mariano Ponce, the two titans of propaganda movement. The Christmas in London. Rizal returned to London on December 24, 1888, and he spent his Christmas and New Year's Day with the Beckett family. Next is Rizal becomes leader of the Filipino in Europe. By the anonymous vote of all members, Rizal was chosen honorary as president of society called Asociación La Solidaridad or Solidaridad Association. Rizal in La Solidaridad paper. On February 15, 1888, Graciano Lopez founded La Solidaridad at Barcelona. Marcelo del Pilar talked about their newspapers. Rizal congratulated Lopez Giana and the Associated and the writer articles. The first article in La Solidaridad was Los Agriculturi Filipinos, or the Filipino farmers. Next is writing in London. La Vision de Fray Rodriguez, the vision of Fray Rodriguez. Later to the young woman of Malolos. Praise the young ladies of Malolos for their courage to establish school where they could learn Spanish despite the opposition of Father Felipe Garcia, Spanish Parish Priest of Malolos. Later to the young woman of Malolos. First, a Filipino mother should teach her children to love God, fatherland, and mankind. Second, Filipino mother should be glad like a Spartan mother. Third, Filipino woman should know how to preserve her dignity and honor. Fourth, Filipino woman should educate herself aside from retaining her good social virtues. Fifth, faith is not merely reciting long prayers and wearing religious pictures, but rather it is living the real Christian way with good morals and good manners. This romance with Gertrude Beckett, the eldest of the three sisters, who fell in love with Rizal and helped Rizal in painting and sculpture. He was called GT. These are Jose Rizal finished sculpture in London. First, the Prometheus Bond. Second, the Triumph of Death over Life. Third is the head of the Beckett sister. And the fourth, the Triumph of Science over Death. Then, suddenly, on March 19, 1889, he bid a goodbye to the kind Beckett family and left London for Paris. He was sad as he crossed the English Channel, for he cherished so many beautiful memories on London. Then he said adios to London. Be the end of chapter 14, Rizal Life in London. Thank you.